So yesterday I did a positive video, and I often get criticized for doing too many negative videos, calling for too many nerfs and all these different things and destroying everyone's fun and enjoyment. I thought yesterday, the new summoning system was better than what we had. Okay, maybe I should have done a bit of an appreciation for, we would want something more than that. I understand where people were coming from, and I also get that people can see quite clearly it's designed to get you to pull more shards. But I just felt I was looking at it from a perspective of, if I have to pull on a times 10, they're at least improving my odds on a times 10. But that put aside, today we are not positive. I am absolutely disgraced by the raid digest. Disgraced is the wrong word. It's awful. This is terrible. I don't know what the hell they're smoking over in Plarium, but we need a bit of a reality check right now. Now, a lot of people have been saying to me, why are you calling for nerfs to Trunder and all this? You're just ruining all the fun case scenarios. And you know what? I can get that argument. I can understand how it's fun to see Trunder blow up Hydra heads for 1 billion damage. Fine. But this change that they've just announced is an absolute disgraceful kick in the teeth for people who don't have legendary champions. And it's not even like it was needed. And the arguments and counter arguments that they've got coming back from this is also terrible. This is just terrible. I have not been so annoyed, frustrated, pissed off about a video that I'm recording right now than what they've come. So what am I talking about here? They've just done the raid digest. Now, about a week ago, they came out and said they had no plans to change any of the current Hydra class champions. Now, all of a sudden, they've changed their course. The rare dwarf champion, Madman, has been introduced into the game. Long before we designed Hydra. Fair enough, that's an understandable statement. Hence, his skill set was developed without taking into account Hydra and possible deviations that might occur during interactions between them. As a consequence, Madman deals an unreasonable high amount of damage to this boss. Starting from the next major update, the second hit of its A1, while slashing, deals 30% of the damage inflicted from the first hit, will only deal normal hits. Let's move on to the other champions that do not give rest to poor Hydra. The Trunder and Yumiko. This is the team that a lot of people are now using. For now, there are no plans to downgrade the performance or change the way they interact with each other or their copies. We are aware that teams with these champions might score many points, but clans with higher damage output levels are more likely to meet each other in this type of competition. Shame. Absolute disgraceful statement, Plarium. You are basically applying one principle and then not because you want to sell shards. Okay, don't try and cover this up around, oh, well, matchmaking will mean this isn't going to be a problem. It's got nothing to do with matchmaking. You want to sell void shards and you want to sell legendary shards. Okay, let's call it what it is. I'm not in the content creator program, so I can say whatever the hell I want right now. This is an absolute disgraceful statement for you in one breath to say to people who don't have access to those champions. I mean, I'll be honest, the Madman teams are competent, but they're nowhere near cadaver level. They're nowhere near, they're very hard to pull off because one, the odds of the champions are not even the same. So it's you can't guarantee it's going to happen, and you have to build teams around it. And the Madman is very difficult to build. So it's not like it's put them in and all of a sudden you're doing billions of damage. So I never once said that Madman needed a nerf. The only thing that I said was multiplying multipliers as a game design is a bad concept. I never once said that they should actually nerf Madman because I think based on his performance, he's not overpowered. He's not doing something like Cadaver was where put him in any gear and you just one-shot in heads constantly. His damage is good, but it's not overpowered. Now, for you to say that it is overpowered, so much so that you're doing what I suggested you do, which was the secondary hits of these abilities don't crit. This is exactly what I said you should do with multiplying multipliers, make it so the secondary form can't be remultiplied, but you won't apply it to the champions that actually are abusing it way more. The Trunder Yumiko team is crazy strong compared to this, and there was a statement that Oracle put out, I think it was, and the Oracle here has written this post, that basically said, well, we're not going to change it because you have to work hard, or it's quite hard to build this team. No, it's not. All you need is to pull the champions. And if you've pulled those champions, you've probably got a good enough gear to make it work. It's not crazy difficult to build. It's easier than the Infinity team. Because the Infinity team, building Brogni is one of the hardest components you can do because his base attack is really low. He needs to deal damage. He needs HP. He needs crit damage. You actually have to build quite a difficult champion there to do it. Yumiko Trunder just needs to be fast and build Trunder in Savage. Come on now. The fact they will not touch these champions is an absolute disgrace, and any kind of logic that they can try and throw at me, I can easily refute it. Okay, this statement of, well, matchmaking is going to be higher, doesn't matter. I can use it on my lower matchmaking if I wanted to. You know, all you're going to find, right? This is how matchmaking is going to work, Plarium. Let me give you an understanding of how top level clans are going to work. They are going to go super hard week 1. Then the next week, they're going to go super not hard. Why? Because they want to win that matchup. So they will basically tank the results down so that they then get matched up against people who don't have the team. And then they're going to win that one because that is how it works. That is the way they manipulate it. They'll tank one so they can guarantee they win the next one. It's not that complicated. Fix your systems if that's the problem. This is just a kick in the teeth to every player who just wants to build a decent Hydra team. Okay? It's a kick in the teeth. Madman was not overpowered. The double Yumiko is overpowered. Yumiko should not reset Yumiko. Kaimar can't be reset, and other champions that do this cannot be reset. Only the 1-turn cooldowns champions can be reset, because reducing something by 1-turn cooldown is not a problem. You cannot reset this Yumiko. You shouldn't do it. Yumiko should not be able to have her A3 reduced straight out the bat. If you change that, you fix it. I also like the suggestion I think Scratch said as well. I think it was Scratch. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm a little bit frustrated. Scratch basically did a message where he said, I did a video where he said, just remove duplicates. Make it so you can't use duplicates in Hydra. That would solve one of the problems as well. If you can't be bothered to fix the fundamental issue that you've created with Hydra Clash by balancing champions properly or fixing Clash, then at least take the duplicates out. Because I'll be honest, this statement here is just the most egregious thing I've seen. And this is what you always do over at Plarium. You come out with some positive things, I would say. A lot of people think that the summoning system is not positive. I can look at it and say, okay, well, look, at least I'm getting more odds to get the champion that I want. I can pick the champions out of the pool that I want. Gives me more flexibility. And you follow up with this clanger. Absolute disgrace. What I would suggest to you, Plarium, is you cancel the Madman nerf. If you're not willing to look at the Trunda Yumiko, you have to cancel the Madman nerf, because that is an awful explanation. Madman's doing too much damage, but Trunda Yumiko is absolutely fine. Let me show you an example of the current Trunda Yumiko team. So this was shared to me on my Discord, on my community Discord. This team, okay, it is doing 57 billion damage. It's not cadaver level, but it's still doing 57 billion damage. Like, tell me an Acrizia team that can do 57 billion damage, please. Anyone in chat want to tell me that they can do that? For them to sit there and say, this is not, you know, these teams are fine, it's hard to build this. It's egregious. It's way too much damage, okay? I'm not asking to take the fun out of the game, but if you're going to ban Madman, this should be where you start, not Madman. I don't think I've seen a Madman that gets anywhere near these numbers, and I've seen Scratch playtest it, and I've seen a bunch of other creators playtest it. There is no Madman team out there that gets close or even like within the same universe as these numbers. So I don't know, guys. I mean, let me just I just want to clarify why Madman here is not a problem. So the ability that everyone's talking about is Madman's Wild Slashing. Attacks one enemy, has a 50% chance of attacking all other enemies with the second hit, and it deals 30% of the damage inflicted from the first hit. Now, here's the thing. He's got a base attack of 1343 with a base crit damage of 57%, 99 speed. He's very squishy. It's only a 50-50 chance, and even when it does that, it's only 30% of the first hit. And the multiplier is half of Trunda's multiplier. So we've got half a multiplier, half the chance, half the spread damage, a significantly lower attack, and you're telling me that that is still too strong compared to Trunda? Let's take a look at Trunda's ability. Cloak of Ages attacks one enemy, then attacks all enemies with the second hit, dealing 60% of the damage inflicted. 100% chance. Almost 300 more base attack. You basically get another 5 to 6% more base crit damage. You're getting double the spread damage. You're getting double the multiplier. So for me, this is why Madman is not as strong, because yes, it's on an A1, you can use ally attack, but you can't reset that ability, so you don't need the Yumikos. So it was a way for people who didn't have Void Legendaries, who wanted to build a similar team, that could build that team. It wasn't going to break any records, but it was going to be good enough that people could actually compete and have a little bit of fun with those champions. So here is what I'm campaigning for. I know Jay Giggs is calling out all of us content creators at the moment, wants us to do a pay freeze. I actually think he's looking at the wrong problems. It is not about the monetization model. I will happily invest in this game if we get content releases, proper content releases, a new game mode that they're talking about. Where is that information? If they stop taking away accessible options and if they balanced inaccessible options, okay? That is what they should do. These are the things that would stop me wanting to play the game. It's the fact that when you go into arena, there is no answer to Taras unless you have the same matchups. You can't beat him with an attack-based champion unless you get super lucky with the Jorgid A1 because of his passives. You can't stop the Marichka. You can't bomb them. These are the issues of the game. It is not about fusion schedules and payment models and all these kind of things, because they're always going to exist. And doing a pay freeze isn't going to really solve the problem. It is the fundamental core aspects of game development. Champion balance. Stop taking the fun away. Give us things to do that isn't just recycled content of the same thing over and over again. Maybe that is what we need. But there you go, guys. Look, this is an angry video for me. I don't like getting angry. I don't really get into this type of mood. But when I read that, I absolutely fell out of my chair. Because for them to make an argument that the reason why we have to ban the nerf the Madman is because it's doing too much damage, but we can't touch the Trunda Yumiko, is an absolute disgraceful statement. And Plarium should recant it, and they should cancel that update and take a serious look at how they are balancing champions. That is the end of the video. Thanks for watching, guys. You know, I don't really know what else I can do. I'm not part of the content creator program, so I can't get into trouble, but you know, it is what it is. This isn't what the type of videos I want to do. I want to do positive videos about the game, but someone has to, like, this has to be said. Stop punishing players and actually fix the champions that are OP. Please. Plarium, please.